Andy, when was the last time that you were genuinely shocked at something that happened on Monday Night Raw? Like, genuinely. When was the last time you were just shocked? Exactly. I know. Me too. Yeah. Until tonight. Brock Lesnar is back. What in the world is going on? I texted you earlier today and said, man, I hope something happens on Monday Night Raw tonight. And it did. And we're going to talk about it. Welcome to Squared Circle Radio. That's the Young Buck, Andy York. My name is Chris Belcher. And Andy, I didn't think there was going to be a lot to talk about on this show. I really didn't. And then a loaded Monday Night Raw just fell out of the sky for us. And now we have stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I thought tonight's Raw was good, but it's kind of weird at the same place. Like I think the Brock stuff I did not see coming. I don't think anybody saw coming. We talked about the possibilities of tribal combat last week. We talked about a couple other things. So I'm curious, like I'm ready to dive in and talk about it all. It's ridiculous that we're going to have to preview Saturday night's main event and the next week preview Clash in Italy, like 3 weeks in a row of previewing and reviewing pay-per-views or pay-per-view like shows. So there's a lot of consumption right now. Yes. That there's a lot to just dive in and talk about.
I think you are correct. Yeah, I think consumption is the right word. Maybe it's quality over quantity or quantity over quality at this point. But I mean, yeah. we'll have to see. Backlash delivered, so maybe Saturday night's main event will deliver. Maybe Clash in Italy will deliver. If it doesn't deliver, there's something wrong, Andy, because breaking news, Brock Lesnar is not retired. Brock Lesnar is back. And he seemingly answered Oba Femi's open challenge tonight, laid waste to him 4 F5s and a pair of split pants later. Brock Lesnar is back. Paul Heyman in the backstage, Andy said that he is retired, but then he gave Adam Pearce the contract for a match at Clash in Italy with Oba Femi. So, man, I'm shocked. My jaw was literally on the floor. Like I was skipping through Oba's entrance because newsflash, I was watching behind. So I was trying to catch up. And then I saw Brock. I was like, why would they be showing a WrestleMania package right now? Like, that's weird. So I had to rewind it. Oh crap, Andy. Brock Lesnar's actually back. There's shock and awe for you.
Yeah, I don't know really. I never bought the retirement fully. Like I thought there's no way that you have SummerSlam in his hometown and Brock's not a part of the card. So I think that was not a giveaway, but I think that was a really good indication that he's probably not fully retired, and I think that goes into a lot of it. But I don't know how I feel about the rematch because I'm terrified that they're going to give Brock his win back, which I hate. Like, if you give Brock his win back, then you just kind of negate everything that happened at WrestleMania. And we're kind of back to where we were before Mania. So I'm curious. Like, I don't know. Do you have Brock lose twice? Do you have Oba beat Brock twice and put him over, like, extra over to the moon, which is a real possibility as well. I thought if he came back, it was to do the Gunther match, and then that's it. Like, we're done, riding off in the sunset. So him having this match at Clash I'm excited about it because of what we got in Mania, but it makes me very nervous about where we're heading afterwards.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, we're going to have, I promised it last week, we're going to have a good discussion about Oba Femi here in just a little bit. So let's do our best as we talk about Brock here to not talk about how it's going to affect Oba too much and maybe backtracking and all that kind of stuff, because I'm with you to an extent that I didn't buy the retirement, but I also bought the retirement because of the emotion that Brock allowed to come out at WrestleMania and the way that he acted and throwing up the X to Paul Heyman and all this, that, and the other. Of course, he never said he was retired, and Paul's preached that since WrestleMania. But I'm also like you. I thought if there was a way to get him back for SummerSlam, we're getting back for SummerSlam. But Andy, I'm kind of bummed that he's coming back. I don't know any other word to use here. I'm bummed that he's coming back for a throwaway pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Like Brock Lesnar is the most decorated combat sports athlete of all time, a first ballot WWE Hall of Famer, a member of the world renowned famous OVW class of 2002. And we thought we were saying goodbye to him on the grandest stage of them all, only to come back for the first pay-per-view in Italy.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
Has Brock been on one of the outside the US pay-per-views not in Saudi Arabia?
That's a good question.
I don't think so. I think the legal stuff kept him out of going to a lot, like to at least most of those shows, if not all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, because the only one that they went to outside of Saudi before he left was Australia. And I don't think
he was on that show.
No.
So this may be like, hey, it's his last year. Get him on one of these shows. Get him on the first ever pay-per-view in Italy. So, like, from that aspect, I kind of get it. If you're going to do that, though, then, you know, have him, if we're going back to the Gunther thing, have him come out and cost Gunther because of the Paul Heyman aspect of it.
Yeah.
Like, have something beforehand where Gunther does something to Heyman, and then Paul comes in and does all that. There's another side of me that thinks maybe Gunther's not the one to retire him. Like, there's a world where it's Braun Breaker, where we get Brock Lesnar versus Braun Breaker at WrestleMania at SummerSlam with the Paul Heyman aspect of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's possible. I think, though, with him taking the gloves and the boots off, I think he probably gets his win back against Oba in Italy, and it's him and Oba in SummerSlam. And we avoid Gunther altogether. I think, and the reason I say that is because Gunther's tied up with Cody Rhodes, and if he wins the championship, like, yes, it makes sense for Brock to come back for a championship. And I get the Paul Heyman thing because I was on board with you totally. But Brock shows, we talk about this all the time, Brock shows that when Brock cares, he's all in. And I think if he really was retired at WrestleMania, it probably took a lot for him to come back to wrestle Oba again. You could say maybe that's because Oba has cooled off since WrestleMania and hasn't capitalized on the momentum. I don't know that that's Oba's fault, but all that to say, there's a reason that Brock came back after taking off the boots and the gloves. And if he does get his win back against Oba, we have to have a rubber match. So that's where I feel like maybe we get them at SummerSlam and we just avoid Gunther altogether. I don't know. All I know, Andy, is I don't know what I know about this Brock Lesnar thing. I just don't know what to think about it. It literally just came out of left field.
Literally. Yeah, and it feels like, trying to avoid jumping ahead of what we're going to talk about later as well. It feels like we're taking another left for no reason again. Like, it's back to where we were before Mania, of adding this into it for just to add it, like just to get him on the Italy show. Oh, well, we don't want him to have to face Gunther yet, so let's throw him back out there with Oba, give him his win back, whatever. I think there's a possibility of more damage being done from this match than if, he just appeared at Clash at Italy in some way, some capacity, something like that. So I think that's my biggest concern. I think there is a way for Gunther to win the title at Clash and Brock go after Gunther and bypass Cody if you put Cody involved in something else that cost him the title, if that makes sense. So, like, maybe Randy returns at Clash and takes Cody out. And so, hey, now we go to SummerSlam. The title's off Cody. So we're able to do Gunther, Brock for the title. Now we can do Randy, Cody at SummerSlam as well. That could be like your two main events, depending on what Roman's doing, and who he's going to face at SummerSlam. So I think there's a world where you can make it work, but it's one of those where you're making it more difficult probably than it should be. Like, I think there's a much easier way to do this. I'm with you. I think Brock coming back this early, it's for the shock factor. I think it's there. I think it's great. Mm-hmm. But then you kind of sit back and go, now what? Like now where do we go? And I think we have to be very, very careful about where we go from here.
The way I would have played that out is all you have to do is delay it another week. If you
just wait till after Clash.
If you're not going to do the Italy match, all you had to do was have Adam Pearce walk into his office, Paul Heyman standing there, Pearce say, "What was that?" And Paul Heyman say, "I don't know, Brock Lesnar's retired." And all that, and just walk out. And just leave it. What the heck just happened? You know what I mean? And then you could have Oba come out and call Brock out and for the next couple of weeks and not show up. And you know what? And then Andy, if we're booking this, you have Oba call Brock out. Paul comes out and answers him. And then you feed the vision to Oba Femi for 3 weeks. Let him run through Logan Paul and Austin Theory, not Braun Breaker, obviously, but let him run through Logan Paul and Austin Theory. And then maybe we address Brock close to SummerSlam. I don't know. Yeah. That's a way to avoid it, at least.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think there was other avenues to take it. This just kind of seemed like we need another big attraction match on this card because it's our first pay-per-view in Italy, and they like to make these things feel important, which is fine. Like, I love that. But we got to – this isn't one of those things that you can just throw together. Like, the end of Brock's career needs to be treated very delicately.
Yep.
The rise of Oba's career needs to be treated very delicately. Yep. And I think you're kind of just slamming them two together, and it could be very damaging for both.
Yep. Completely
Especially because the WrestleMania match was so good and what it should be. You run it back, you're facing the risk of making it worse.
Yep.
Of just kind of diluting what happened in Mania.
Sure. Yep. You definitely are. But as you said, let's wait and see what happens. I don't know. I guess. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Thank you guys for being with us, though. If you are live watching the YouTube stream live, thank you for doing that. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, drop those comments and questions. We will take each and every one of those. And if you're watching the replay, you can still drop comments and we'll get back to you as far as those go. All right, Andy, we found out, we speculated last week, and we won't spend too much time on this because, again, like you said, we're going to preview Clash in Italy next week. So we'll talk about it more then. Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu tribal combat is official for Clash in Italy. The graphic popped up on the show tonight. So you're going to have both world titles on the Clash in Italy show, which I'm sort of shocked by because we're going to talk about Cody and Gunther in a minute. And Andy Joe Tess, pretty sure on Friday, said that was going to be the main event of Clash in Italy. So I don't know if Roman's going to overtake that main event spot or if Roman and Jacob are going to go on first in Clash in Italy. Who knows, Andy? But the second installment of Roman and Jacob happens next weekend, just as you and I predicted.
Yeah, and I think it's what it needs to be.
Yeah,
I think the feud and the match type and the match stipulation, it needs to be tribal combat. I think that fits it the best because of just the bloodline story that we're telling and everything getting involved. And this week you add in the Usos and them finally, fully standing behind Roman because they said they were going to take care of business last week, and then they never showed up last week when Jacob was beating down on Roman.
Right.
And so finally you're kind of putting these pieces together. You're making everything happen. You're making everything work. I don't know if this kicks off the show. I don't know one way or the other. It's very interesting to me how they're going to go about this because I think they want the tribal combat to obviously be like Roman's match stipulation. They want it to be what he's known for, him winning that all the time. I think there's a real chance Jacob could win the title, though, through this. And I think it would be very interesting if they go that route, especially depending on Roman's schedule from here on out. And, if he's going to be here in June, if he's not going to be here in June, that whole fiasco and debacle that they've been dealing with. So I don't know. It's a great stipulation. I think it fits the story. I think it's going to be a great match. I think it's going to be awesome. If it is like the first hour of the show is free on ESPN again, please keep this off of it. Like this does not need to be on it because you hindered Drew and Jacob in their last man standing match or whatever. There's no sanction match at Mania. If you hinder this kind of a match, this big of a match at this stage because it's on free TV, then you're we've lost the plot of wrestling at this point. So I think that's my only concern is if it kicks off the show and it's the free hour of the pay-per-view, then it could really be damaging.
Put Cody and Gunther on first. Let them be in the free hour.
Yeah.
I mean, that's easy. That's easy money because like you said, this match between Roman and Jacob, the way that this feud has been, you can't water it down. You don't want to water it down. You shouldn't want to water it down, especially when you put a stipulation like tribal combat on there. And again, we've only seen one technical tribal combat match, and that was between Roman Reigns and Jey Uso back at SummerSlam 2023. But to that point, it can be whatever they want it to be, you know, but at the same time, it needs to be something that is more than what Drew and Jacob was at WrestleMania. Andy, I will say this. Throughout the build to WrestleMania, Roman Reigns has main evented Monday Night Raw every single week that he's been on the show. So from March until WrestleMania, a promo closed Monday Night Raw. Okay. And with Roman Reigns and CM Punk. I loved them moving this to the start of the show. Instead, I was begging for that. I don't know if I said it on the show or not, but I was begging for them to do Roman and Punk to start a show on the road to WrestleMania. The people were just all over this to start the show tonight, Andy. They were chanting Fatu, and then as soon as Jacob beat down the Usos, they start chanting OTC, the pop for Roman, and they were just all over this to kick off the show. I'm not saying that WWE made a mistake not putting Roman and Punk kicking off a show on the road to WrestleMania, but Andy, you said the Raw tonight was weird. I thought it was really interesting because you went from this hot angle with Roman and Jacob to a street fight with JD McDonough and Finn Balor that got This Is Awesome chance. So like, I thought it was a really smart, hot way to start Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, it was a great way, especially, I mean, they did the same trick twice in the same show, which, you know, it's fine. But like Roman walking in, Adam Pearce trying to stop him, and then they both hear Jacob's music. And it's like this, supposed to be this unscripted moment where Jacob comes out and, you know, cuts a promo and everything. Like, I love when they do stuff like that. I think it just adds to the show even more. And yeah, like I think if Roman and Punk would have opened up like a Monday Night Raw, even if they just brawled to open it up or something like that would have been awesome.
Yep.
I think something like that could happen next week where, you know, maybe it starts off the show by Roman and Jacob brawling and just have them brawl through the entire show.
Yep.
From start to finish, like that's your first segment, that's your last segment, is them just brawling all throughout the arena. Get the Usos involved, get whoever else you want involved. But I love that it did start off because you are building to Roman, like at the end of the night, every night, or during Mania, you're building to your main event match at Mania every single night. Now, though, kicking off with him, I think it just adds a level of intrigue. And it's also like, so if this is starting the show, who's in the main event? Like, what's ending the show? So I think it just adds a lot of intrigue.
Which we'll go ahead and touch this here because I'm not going to bring it back up because that happened. And then a few segments later, we find out that Seth Rollins is going to be in the main event against a Vision member. Andy, I could have sworn Bronson Reed was coming back tonight. I could have sworn that Raw was going to end. In my head, I'm like, it doesn't matter who he faces. Bronson Reed's going to lay him out at the end of the night. And that's going to be, you know, how Raw goes off the air. I thought Raw going off the air was interesting with Breaker and with Seth and how they did it. But I needed Bronson Reed to come back. Also, for a minute, thought we were getting an actual Street Profits turn, that Montez was going to turn on Dawkins to end the show. That would have been wild too.
Especially since they have a match at Saturday Night's main event for the tag titles. I think that'd have been a very confusing moment if that would have happened. I think
what you could have done then was have again, I'm fantasy booking wildly here. You could have Montez turn, and then you have Dawkins come out. Dawkins doesn't have a partner. Boom, Seth Rollins is his partner. And it ends up being Dawkins and Seth Rollins just filling in the gap for that match. So you continue to tell the story of Montez and, however we're going to branch off that way. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. Yeah. It would have been a really weird, swerve. It'd have been a Vince Russo swerve in a moment that didn't need it. I think in a lot of ways.
True.
Yeah. Like I thought the way they ended the show tonight was very interesting. We need to do something different though in this Seth Rollins Vision feud. Like we have been doing the same thing, copy and paste, since before Mania. So like we need to do something different. Like we need to throw a wrinkle on this of Seth doesn't face just this member of the Vision. Maybe Braun Breaker faces somebody, and Seth's got the upper hand. Somebody distracts him with spear. Like it's the same thing over and over and over and over again. So we either need to find a new thing to do in this feud or just let it come to its end quickly because it's getting a little old at this point.
Well, I'm sure Seth Rollins is going to come up in our Saturday night's main event preview, which we're going to do in just a few minutes. So hang tight with us. This is Squared Circle Radio live on our YouTube channel or on podcast. If you're listening there, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You can leave us a 5-star review if you are so inclined. Follow the show on whatever platform that you're listening on. We would appreciate that. And if you're listening to us on Sports Wire Radio, keep it locked in right here for some more great content. Andy, let's talk about the only match that I anticipated us talking about for Clash in Italy this week. And then lo and behold, we get 2 more that pop up on Monday Night Raw tonight. Yeah. And that is for the WWE Championship. Gunther seemingly earning his way by beating Royce Keys, which we can talk about that in a minute, I guess. But Gunther and Cody Rhodes. Andy, I want to bring this image up on our YouTube screen because you and I preached when this feud started that Cody Rhodes needed to get 0 offense whatsoever in on Gunther on the way to Clash in Italy. Well, that didn't happen because Cody Rhodes laid out Gunther to start SmackDown. And I'm not going to put the blame on Cody. Not even really going to put the blame on creative, even though they pull the strings and they call the shots. Because I love Cody being the aggressor. I love him coming out and setting up his own contract signing table. I thought that was really cool. That's something different. What I don't like is Gunther backing away. This is a man who retired Goldberg. This is a man who retired John Cena. This is a man who retired AJ Styles. And I don't care if he is a heel or what. That is a dude that does not ever need to back away from a fight. And top it off, Andy, in this contract signing, he's telling Cody, oh, say please, Cody. I'm not going to sign it to you. Say please, Cody. It's like, dude, do you want the match? You're the one that wanted the match. Why is he having to convince you that you need to sign the? It was just really convoluted, Andy. Like, this is another one that I feel like it's easy. Just tell the story. And Cody has a problem magnet on him. Like, he didn't put it there on his own. It's like somebody clipped him with a clothespin from behind or stuck a kick me sign on his back. It's like, what are we doing?
He has the same issue Cena had, and that they just tried to overcomplicate his stories for no reason.
Yeah.
Like the story here should be very simple, very easy. And I think it's a much deeper issue than just, Cody having a problem magnet on him. I think it's creative or whoever has a real fear of just putting momentum behind somebody for a long period of time. That's not a Roman Reigns. That's not a Cody Rhodes. That's not a CM Punk. Because they give these people, like, they give guys pushes for a little bit and then they pull back, and then they push for a little bit and then they pull back. And I think it's something that we'll talk about in our discussion a little bit later. But, like, you know, Gunther should have had all the momentum in the world after beating Goldberg. And then he kind of fell off a little bit. And then he should have had all the momentum in the world beating John Cena. And he did for a little bit, but then they didn't capitalize on it. And then he should have had all the momentum in the world after beating AJ Styles, and then he was off TV for like a month and a half.
Yep.
So, like, either put the company on his back as the number one heel and let him be that, or, you know, find a new one. Like, find somebody else that you want to push as a heel, as that top guy, as that big bad guy that you want everybody to be afraid of. Because this should be a bigger moment. This shouldn't be Gunther trying to be the funny heel saying, oh, you have to say please. This should be like, I want to end your career. I want to kill you. Like, I want to take that title off of you. But they're like, I don't know why they're afraid to tell this story with Gunther, with Cody. If you don't want this to happen yet, then you shouldn't have put this match together yet. Like, this should have been something that would come to later. But I think it's a great time to do it now. Like, let Gunther capitalize on the momentum that he has coming off of Mania, finally capturing that gold again, and letting him be the big bad guy on SmackDown that everybody's trying to chase, that nobody can beat until at the very end, Cody comes back and he wins the title off of Gunther. Or, you know, somebody else. Build up another character, build up another star, build up another babyface to come up and to beat Gunther for the title. But it seems like they're afraid to put that momentum behind him.
Yep. I agree with you. I really do. Like, you read all the reports on the road to WrestleMania about Gunther and Rey Mysterio, and, you know, maybe that's why it was off TV, and maybe there was something else going on. And ultimately, he and Seth Rollins have one of the best matches of the weekend, so you can't fault him for that. But he just goes to show that when you put him in the ring, the dude's going to deliver. Like, he and Royce Keys had a really good main event match on SmackDown. Yep. Not to be confused with the main event show, but they had a really good main event on SmackDown. They really did. Yeah. So Gunther delivers when he's in the ring, no matter who you put him in there with. And he and Cody are going to flat out deliver come Clash in Italy next weekend. It's the issue of Cody is whatever their issue with booking him is. And then whatever the issue is with booking Gunther, like you just laid out, it's like, they had this discussion on Busted Open today. I want to quickly bring it up to you. I think I know what your answer is going to be, but I'm going to bring it up to you anyway. The discussion that was brought up on Busted Open is, do we care about Gunther now? Like, do we even care that he is facing Cody Rhodes for the championship versus if he would have faced Cody Rhodes for the championship in January as opposed to in May? Do we even care? Or, I mean, is the Gunther experiment too far gone? I know you don't think it is, but do we care as much?
I don't think we care. Like, I love Gunther, and I don't think the experiment is too far gone. But it goes back to them being afraid to do anything with him. Like, Gunther should have been the big bad after his long Intercontinental Championship reign. Like, that should have been the precedent of, this is the model, this is the prototype for what we do with Gunther from here on out, because it works. Yep. And it worked really well for him with the IC title. And then he loses the IC title, he goes after the world title, wins it, and then everybody's like, oh, we don't know what to do with him now. It's not like we've had experience booking this already. Yeah. So I don't know, like, I think if they would have been able, and it's wild to say that a man who if we would have said a couple years ago, hey, one guy is going to retire Goldberg, Cena, and AJ Styles within the span of 6 months, and nobody really cares by May, we had been like, oh, no, there's no way. Like, there's no way that's possible. That's how bad they've done booking Gunther.
Yeah.
And it takes something special to screw up somebody like that bad. So I don't know what you do with him now. I don't know how we get that heat back, that momentum back. I mean, now it's to the point where even if he does retire Brock, I don't think it really brings him back to that level.
Not now.
Unless he did, like if he'd have done it at Mania, I think it would have brought him kind of back. But now there's been this long gap and this long period, and now everybody's like, yeah, it's Gunther. Like he's the bad guy, but his character changes week in, week out because they don't really know what to do with him.
Yep. We'll have to see. We'll dive into this a little more. We'll see what happens this week on SmackDown. Ahead of Saturday night's main event, and then we'll dive into this more when we preview Clash in Italy on next week's episode of Squared Circle Radio. So come hang out with us live in the chat, watch the replay, listen on podcast, all the things. We would appreciate it so very much. Again, that is the next time that we are live. It's next Monday after Raw, just like we are every single Monday. So if you're brand new to the show, number one, drop some comments and questions. We'd appreciate that. Number two, please hit that subscribe button. That would mean the world to us. Andy, I often like to talk about the subject of our thumbnail at the beginning of the show. And typically that doesn't always happen, especially when Roman Reigns is on Monday Night Raw, and especially when Brock Lesnar shows up out of nowhere. But Andy, let's have this discussion that we teased last week. We all know that when you look at WWE's current roster, that the two most popular wrestlers, and it's not even close right now, is Trick Williams and Oba Femi. And now you may ask yourself, if you're new to the WWE product, why are these guys not even 1 year removed from NXT, the most popular wrestlers on the roster? Well, that's a good question. If I had the answer to that, we might be doing something. I don't have the answer, Andy. All I know, well, maybe I do have the answer. These two guys have it. And it can be defined as whatever it is. Because what's the one thing you need to succeed in the wrestling business? It's not the same for everybody. But Trick Williams and Oba Femi both have it. So, Andy, the discussion I want to have tonight is, who is the undisputed number one guy for the future of the WWE? Now, I say that to say, I don't think there's I know, right? I don't think there's a wrong answer here. Yeah. I think both of these, the potential for both of these guys is just through the dang roof.
Yeah.
But when I ask you that question, who has the most potential? Who has the most star power? When I ask you that, just where does your mind go in terms of these two guys?
So it's weird. Like I think you're absolutely right that these are the two most popular guys in all of the company right now. It's not even close. Like I think when you hear Oba's music and you hear Roman's music, I think Oba gets as loud of a pop as Roman Reigns does, if not a little bit. Like the energy just feels very different when Oba hits the ring.
Yep.
It's a jitter, it's an excitement. You feel it. Like you can feel it through your TV screen.
Yep.
And he's got all of the things about him that you want. But then you look at Trick Williams, and the dude just oozes charisma. Yep. I mean, he might be the most charismatic guy in the entire company.
Yep.
Of just, not comparing him to this person, so don't everybody freak out. But you know how like when The Rock comes out on TV and you just look at him and you go, yeah, he's got charisma. Like he doesn't even have to say anything. Just by the way he looks,
yep,
his appearance alone, he's got charisma. Yep. I think you can make an argument that Trick Williams is that way. Like from his entrance alone, when he stands and those spotlights are on him, you just feel it. You're just like, yeah, this dude is a star. This dude is that dude. He's got it all. So if you ask me who is like if I had to put like right at the top, if I had to put like all my stock in one of these two guys,
yep,
I think you're right. Like there's no wrong answer. There's not a wrong answer. I think when it comes to character, when it comes to promos, when it comes to everything, like the whole package, I tend to lean Oba just a little bit more because I think Oba can do things that Trick can't just because of Oba's size. Like I think Oba's size gives him that advantage. But if you told me Trick Williams was the number one guy in the company 10 years from now, I'd be like, yeah, like I don't doubt that one bit. I think we're looking at the rise of the next two, every great era of wrestling, you have two guys right at the top. You've got Austin, you've got Rock right at the top. You've got, the last couple of years, you've got Cody, you've got Roman right at the top. I think over the next couple of years, you're going to have Oba and you're going to have Trick Williams right at the top. If you told me like in 5 years that the main event of WrestleMania is Oba Femi versus Trick Williams for a title, then I'm like, yeah, like that's a WrestleMania main event written all over it. But I would probably give the slight advantage to Oba just because just the look alone. I think I give it to him.
Yeah, Flavor C333 in the comments. I'm sure that's just a handle. I apologize for butchering your name. Says it's like Goldberg, of course, referring to Oba in his entrance because you hear the Oba chants long before the entrance actually happens. And Oba is that guy, Andy, like you said, like how big he is. And the things that he can do at his size is just unreal. That's what made Brock Lesnar the next big thing and so good. And that's what helped the Undertaker stand apart is he's a 7-foot guy that walked the ropes, Andy. And then size and athleticism, the Big Show. Look at the Big Show and how successful he was because of what he was able to do. So Oba Femi certainly has that from an in-ring perspective, but both of these guys are young and green. Andy, you mentioned Austin. I'll mention Hulk Hogan, probably the two biggest superstars of all time. And Bully Ray said this on Busted Open today, and I did not pull this discussion from Busted Open. He just happened to make this point about Trick Williams, and it made all the sense in the world to me. Hulk Hogan, he came out, he ripped the t-shirt, he sold like a madman, and he posed at the end of the night, and he connected with the people. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Oh, by his entrance music too. Austin, the glass shatters. He gives you the middle finger. He gives you the stunner, and he drinks beers. None of those things have anything to do with in-ring ability. None of them.
No.
And Trick Williams and Oba Femi are green. They're going to get better. They're going to get much better.
Yeah.
But right now, both of them not fantastic in the ring. Don't have to be right now, especially when you're as big as Oba Femi is.
Yeah.
You do not have to be that good in the ring when you can toss Brock Lesnar around, just like you're seeing on the YouTube screen right now. Or you can have that flavor like Trick Williams does every time he comes to the ring. So, Andy, I think if I'm looking at it, I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going to say Trick Williams is the guy simply because I think Oba might get pigeonholed into that attraction role. Whereas I think Trick Williams can evolve into that true number one guy. And I feel like an attraction guy is really hard to make him the number one guy all at the same time. And I think Oba has the promo skills. I think his in-ring potential is off the charts. And I think he has the look, and he just continues to grow each and every week. I just also think that Trick is doing the same thing. It just might not be getting that little magnifying glass attention because of Oba's size and because of his presence. Because I think Oba's presence overshadows Trick right now. But I think at the end of the day, I'm going to give the edge to Trick.
I think what will be really telling is when Trick gets that one win.
Let me get to this comment real quick as you're saying this. They got the connection to the fans. Flavor C3. Yes, that right there. I mentioned Austin and Hogan. Trick and Oba are right there already. A connection with the fans, and you can hear it every time they come out.
Oh yeah, but I think I think this discussion gets a lot more interesting when Trick gets that one win. Like Oba's got that win over Brock. That's a massive win. Like that's a career defining, career making win.
Yep.
Obviously, Trick's like the U.S. champion right now. But going into that feud with Sammy, I think you could have put anybody in there, and they would have been the popular one going forward. I think Trick, like, if Trick Williams beats a Cody Rhodes, if he went into that mini feud with Randy before everything kind of changed. Like, if he'd have beat a Randy Orton, if he would have beaten, somebody, I think he gets the comparison all the time to Booker T. But I honestly think Trick Williams is everything WCW wanted Booker T to be. But Booker T wasn't that. Like, Booker T is great in the ring. He could cut a promo. He did the spin-a-rooney. Like, he did things that the crowd loved, but he just didn't. I feel like he didn't fully connect with the audience as much as Trick Williams does. And I'll tell you what does it. You look at Hogan, you look at Austin. Those two guys connected with the youngest person in the audience and the oldest person in the audience. They covered everybody. Yep. That's what Cena's biggest issue was. Cena connected with the young audience, but guys like me who were wrestling fans during the Cena heyday, we couldn't stand him because he didn't connect with us, because he was, in our eyes, he was a phony. Like, he was a fake. Now you look at Roman. Roman's doing the same thing, connecting with the youngest and with the oldest. I think Trick and Oba, they do the exact same thing of my 8-month-old daughter, when I hold her and we're watching wrestling, she knows Oba's theme song now. Like, we play it around our house all the time, and she knows it, and she gets excited when she hears it. And then I'm excited when I hear it. So, like, you connect with the youngest and you connect with the oldest, and you make it happen and you make it work. Both those guys are doing that. I think another guy, he's older. He has a lot of experience outside of WWE. But I think from a WWE perspective, a guy over the next couple of years that is right up there with him of being the most popular and taking the next step, being a world champion, is Penta. Like, Penta's got the entrance. He's got the moveset. He doesn't cut the greatest promos, but, buddy, when he cuts them, the crowd is on his side and is fired up as he's talking. You don't know what he's saying half the time because we don't speak Spanish. But I know, like, yeah, whatever he said, yes, I completely agree with. So I think he's another one that, like, there's just a lot of young talent. I know Penta's not the youngest, but there's a lot of young talent coming through, that they can really pin down. So Ruka on the women's side, like, she could be something special. JC Jane, she could be something special. They just have to be willing to put their feet in the ground and book them. And that's why I'm terrified that Brock Lesnar beats Oba Femi. Because even if he gets his win back at SummerSlam, I think it does more damage than good to have Brock beat Oba to get his win back.
Yeah, I think that it's definitely a really slippery slope when it comes to whatever they're going to do with Brock Lesnar, because you don't want whatever happens to damage what just happened at WrestleMania, win or loss, because, again, Cody Rhodes has proved you stack adversity on top of him, you build him back up, and he's bigger than he's ever been. I'm not saying that Oba Femi needs adversity. What I am saying is Oba Femi needs to get white hot like he was after beating Brock Lesnar. So I don't want them to just bring in Brock Lesnar for the sake of stacking adversity on top of him and trying to get him back to that level. Now, if Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi meet at Clash in Italy next week and Oba Femi beats him in 4 minutes again, okay, maybe that's going to bring Oba Femi back up and, we're going to get excited about him again. I'm not saying they should have put the world title on him the night after WrestleMania, but you got to find a way to get him back, because listen, Andy, this open challenge stuff that he's been doing, like, give me somebody credible to be excited.
Yeah.
Otis. Okay. That was pretty cool, honestly. But then you follow it up with nobody's answering your open challenge. Well, let me just drag 2 bottom of the barrel guys out and like, that's dumb. And then the third week, we're bringing it back, Brock Lesnar. And now it's over, I would think. So it just, I don't know. The booking has been weird for him. I think he's going to survive it, though. I don't think it's going to be bad. Go ahead.
Listen, I'm looking at the comment. Omos, like, if he would have brought Omos out,
Yes.
And Oba just flat out destroy him.
Yep.
I think we're right back at it. I think you could have done Rusev. I think you could have done I think there's, even though I know they already had a mini feud, run it back though for one more week. I think there's a lot of big guys that you could put in the ring with Oba to put over Oba while also not damaging them at the same time. You know, Otis was a great one, and we talked about Rusev. We talked about Omos. I think you could have done, you know, Atala Tonga could come over from SmackDown, and this is his big moment, and then he gets run through. So, like, I think there's a lot of options. And then when all the giants are slain and Oba's standing there, then you do the thing where nobody wants to answer. Like, nobody wants to come out. So he goes to the back and he finds two people, you know, Austin Theory and Logan Paul. If he'd have found them and pulled them out to the ring and destroyed them to the point where, like, Braun Breaker is like, I don't even want to smoke with this one. You're putting him over as this killer, as like nobody wants to get in the ring. And then when Brock comes back and is confronting him, then you're able to tell this story a whole lot more. So I think you're absolutely right. I think we rushed it. I think we've gone way too quick. And doing this match again, the risk just isn't worth the reward, I think. So I'm very, very nervous about this happening.
Let's wrap this discussion up with one question, and I want one word answer. I want your first thought. Trick Williams, Oba Femi, who's world champion first?
Oba.
Not even hesitating on that one?
SummerSlam.
I don't think, yeah, okay. Okay. Oba and Gunther at SummerSlam.
No.
Oba Roman? No, don't think so.
I think Oba beats Brock at Clash. Oba beats Roman at SummerSlam.
Okay.
I'm going about White Hot.
I'm going Oba Gunther because Gunther beats Cody. And then Oba crosses over and beats Gunther. But
either way. Oba's world champ by SummerSlam. I'll be shocked if it's even any longer than that.
Flavor C333 hanging out with us in the chat. He says Oba Femi as well. I think that's an easy one. I would try to defend Trick Williams there, but I don't think I can. We're going over there quickly. Saturday night's main event may be the show that I might be least looking forward to of any show in a long, long time.
Yeah.
Andy, I'm going to run through the card real quick. You just tell me what stands out to you. Okay. You've got Penta and Ethan Page for the Intercontinental Championship. Okay. That'll be fantastic. Logan Paul and Austin Theory defending the title against the Street Profits. You got Brie Bella and Paige defending the women's tag team titles against Nia Jax and Lash Legend. A 6-woman tag, Charlotte, Alexa, and Rhea Ripley against Jade, B-Fab, and Mi Chen. And then you've got, in a non-title match, Sol Ruka against Becky Lynch. I'm not even going to ask you, Andy, what you're looking forward to the most. What I'm going to ask you is, what in the world main events this show? Like, what is headlining the show? I would think the 6-woman tag, right?
It's either that or the IC title.
Yeah.
There's a chance it could be the tag titles, and if Braun Breaker and Seth get involved and this whole thing, but yeah, it's a very nothing card. Very nothing card.
Yeah.
How many matches on the card?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. I was gonna say it feels like there's a lot more than Backlash had, but it's about the same.
They may have announced one more and I missed it, but those are the 5 that I have written down here.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, I want to be able to do this and I want to be able to talk about it. And I think Penta and Ethan Page is going to be an incredible match. And I think the tag titles could be really good if given time. Sol Ruka and Becky Lynch is going to be good as well. There's
no stakes. Like the only match that matters is Penta and Ethan because they're stakes. Like, right. I know the tag titles are on the line, but the tag titles are wrapped up in this Vision storyline, so really they're secondary to everything else that happens.
And the women's tag team titles have 3 other teams involved as well, as we saw tonight.
Yeah. So I think there's going to be some decent matches. I think this is a 1-match card. Like, this is the definition of a 1-match card. Here's my preview of the whole show.
Yep.
Ethan Page is your new Intercontinental Champion.
Better be.
I think he's your Intercontinental. I think he's your brand new. The only thing I could see them doing is having Rusev get involved and have Javon Evans get involved. And then this becomes a fatal 4-way somewhere else. But whenever the deciding factor happens, whenever it's not a throwaway finish, this whole thing ends with Ethan Page as your Intercontinental Champion. Like, I have no doubts about that at this point.
Yep. Absolutely. I'm 100% with you. It's like, I don't know. Again, the wrestling is probably going to be good, but you don't really have the star power to bring people over to Peacock to watch this show. And it's not even on NBC. It's not on Netflix. It's not on ESPN. It's on Peacock. So there's no star power to bring over. And the other thing I was thinking about too, Andy, not to go down too far of a rabbit hole, but I feel like the only match that is building to the next pay-per-view, because I think as long as Jade Cargill is calling the shots, Jade Cargill and Rhea Ripley is also happening at Clash in Italy. So you've got that 6-woman tag that is building to the next pay-per-view. Otherwise, Andy, none of these people are on the next pay-per-view. Like, what are you doing to sell the next pay-per-view, which is a week away? How are you using your time wisely to build to that? The answer is you're not. I don't know how you're selling me on what's next on the next pay-per-view.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the only other one that may be building to something is the IC title match, because I think we may have a multi-man fatal 4-way match at Clash for it. But even then, like, Saturday night's main event needs to either be a one-off in its own spectrum where there's nothing behind it. Like this, it's this show. This is what we're doing.
Yep.
Or if you're doing it a week before a pay-per-view, like this needs to have some repercussions that happen at the pay-per-view.
Agreed.
Like, something needs to happen at the pay-per-view. Maybe have a match on here where, have 2 people go at it and the winner faces Trick Williams at Clash at Italy. Like, that's a very simple solution to this. But I don't think I think this was one that they booked. They made this happen and then they went, "Ooh, this is a little close." So all the stuff that we do normally, like the show before or the show after Clash, the SmackDown before, the Raw after, we'll just put it on Saturday night's main event, make it this thing, and then go to the next pay-per-view. Like, just get past it. I feel like that's where we're at with it.
And then the next Saturday night's main event is in July at Madison Square Garden. So I assume we're going to be talking a little more highly about that one.
Probably.
Coming up.
Was this the Saturday night's main event that was rumored to be in Nashville? Was this one? I'm glad we didn't get it. I'm glad we didn't get it.
This is the one. Yeah. I still would have gone, but still.
I'd have gone, but
is what it is, I guess.
Could have given something more.
Speaking of Saturday night's main event and old school, let's talk about this week in wrestling history as we wrap up this show, because Andy, this week in wrestling history was a week of shocking upsets. And you may be wondering, well, what happened, Chris? Well, May 18th, that is today, but this was back in 2015. So 11 years ago, Andy, was the main roster debut of Kevin Owens pinning John Cena's shoulders to the mat in one of the more shocking moments of the PG era. Kevin Owens getting put over huge. A guy, Andy, that really wasn't supposed to ever be in the WWE, and let alone pin John Cena on his first night on the main roster, setting up for an absolutely incredible career. You were watching when this happened. Take me through your thoughts and seeing this happen.
Yeah, so Kevin Owens has always been one of my guys. Like, I've always just loved Kevin Owens. Even in Ring of Honor, he's Kevin Steen. Comes to NXT, he becomes the Kevin Owens that we all know and love, and then he gets called up to the main roster. And at this point, the main roster call-ups hadn't gotten the reputation of they don't know what to do with them at this point, but we had gotten kind of close to that mark. Like, this was kind of like one of the first real call-ups that kind of set the precedent for the call-ups to come up afterwards. Mm-hmm. And his first night on Raw, he comes out, and I mean, he lays out Cena. He stands on the U.S. title. He holds up the NXT championship. All of that stuff was absolutely amazing. And then we get to the pay-per-view. We hear like the match is going to happen. I remember reading on Twitter and all the shows, the YouTube stuff I watched during the time. Everybody's like, yeah, this is a great moment for Kevin Owens. There's no way he's beating Cena on his first night. Like, this is height Super Cena. There's no way that he's coming in and he's beating John Cena. And when he beat him, I mean, go back and watch the audience reaction when he beat him, because it was stunned. Like, the crowd was just shocked that Kevin Owens won, and then it was a pop. So, like, it's a great moment. Kevin Owens is one of those guys that never should be where he's at, but he's so good at what he does that he belongs. Like, he deserves to be there. We need at least one more world title run for him. Like another good long world title run for him. I was on the train of, hey, at Rumble he should have beat Cody, because I think that had just been awesome. That'd have been great, but I get why he didn't. But he needs a good long title run when he comes back. But this was a wild moment. I mean, a wild moment. And then it builds to Sami Zayn getting called up to the main roster. And then they have a massive brawl at the Rumble. They're part of the ladder match at WrestleMania 32. And then it's just this never-ending story between the two of them. So it was a great, great moment. And what it brought later on was just as good. So I loved it.
No, absolutely. And setting up for just this unpredictable career for Kevin Owens in the WWE, laying out John Cena, and an impactful debut for him, just again to set up an incredible career. The other upset that you could argue was just as groundbreaking when the 1, 2, 3 happened, maybe it didn't set up a prestigious career like Kevin Owens, maybe not making him a first ballot Hall of Famer after all this happened. But May 17th, 1993 was the upset heard around the world on Monday Night Raw. The Kid, the Lightning Kid, the 1, 2, 3 Kid, as he would be called after this match, defeating Razor Ramon. And now, Andy, I said you were watching the Kevin Owens and John Cena stuff live. You were not watching this one live because you weren't born yet. But just for context for everyone, the 1, 2, 3 Kid was a jobber going into this match. They kept changing his name every week because they didn't know what to call him. And he was not supposed to be, he wasn't supposed to be in the spot of winning this match. And this led to an incredible feud between the 1, 2, 3 Kid and Razor Ramon. And following this, as Kid would go through the years, Andy, he became the measuring stick on the WWF roster, that if Vince needed to test somebody's skills in the ring, put him with Waltman, put him with Kid. And then as soon as they come back through the curtain, Vince would get with Kid. What's he got? What is it? So maybe the 1, 2, 3 Kid couldn't be a Hall of Famer on his own, Andy, but becoming the measuring stick for how good guys are, all set up by this moment. Of course, we all knew he was good before this, but this moment defining his career and then setting him up for the success that he had down the road. Just an incredible moment on an early first 6 months of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, it's a great moment. It's a historic moment that you can go back and look at all the time. And they bring it up, they reference it all the time when they talk about underdogs winning and everything like that. So it's one of those. And you look at I almost call him X-Pac. That's probably what I'm gonna call him, is X-Pac. But like, you look at what his career became and everything, and from that moment, really shot his career in a completely different direction. But then you look at a guy like Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, who might be one of the most underrated guys in all of professional wrestling history. Like, the fact that he was never a world champion in WWE or in WCW is just mind-blowing to me. Like, mind-blowing to me that he never got that world title. Because you talk about a guy that had the look and he had the charisma, and he could cut a promo, and he could just he had it all. And so I'm shocked that he never got that big moment, but he was a big enough name to get this done. And in an era where guys were not willing to put somebody else over.
Yep.
He was willing to do that and really just set X-Pac's career off. You know, he may never have been the big superstar of the world, you know, the world champion, that kind of thing, but he was willing to take a chance and help his buddy and help his friend. But it worked. Like it did what it was supposed to do. You never really saw Hogan do that. Like Hogan would put his buddies in a match with him, but he's like, "But I'm going to beat you. Like you're not beating me. Like you're not going to beat Hogan." So I think that's just as really commendable from Scott Hall to be not just have this match, but also be willing to take the shocking defeat early on in Raw history. It's a really, really great moment to go back and look at.
And a lot of people even thought that when 1-2-3 Kid did the moonsault, that his knee caught Scott Hall in the head and it knocked him out for a minute, and that's why
he was concussed.
Yeah, like that's total BS. Like that didn't happen. Yeah. Like it was 100% putting Kid over, and just a cool moment, man. I did not watch this live. I was 4 years old. Even if I did watch it live, I don't remember it. But yeah, man, just a cool moment. Like you said, it gets replayed all the time, and talking about underdog stories and all that. So it's really cool to go back and look at some old school stuff this week in wrestling history, some shocking upsets that really flipped the wrestling world upside down. We started the night with shocking, Andy, and we ended the night with shocking, and we didn't even plan that, but Brock Lesnar delivers. Kevin Owens delivers. The 1-2-3 Kid delivers. It's all in great fun, Andy, in the world of wrestling. You just never know what you're going to get.
I mean, listen, we live in a timeline where Jinder Mahal is a former WWE champion and Scott Hall isn't. Yes. So, like, just take that for what it is. You never know what you're going to get. Like, you're going to be shocked by things.
And David Arquette is a former WCW champion and Scott Hall is not.
Yeah. Vince is too.
Yeah. Russo and McMahon.
Russo. Yeah, golly. Those are some dark days in WCW.
I know. I almost want to go back and watch some stuff and just be like, what are we doing here? Like Norman Smiley.
Somebody should have said no. Somebody should have been the adult in the room and said, Vince Russo, no. No.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
All right. Well, it's a fun discussion tonight. Appreciate you guys hanging with us. Again, if it's your first time, hit that subscribe button, drop those comments and questions in the chat. We will go back and answer each and every one of those. Trust me, I go back and look at all of them. I respond to every one of them. So make sure that you do that. It will be much appreciated. If you're listening on podcast, please make sure that you subscribe on whatever platform that you're on. And if you're on SportsWire Radio, thank you so much. We're going to wrap this show up, and there's going to be some great content immediately after. So keep it locked in right here. All right. That's the Young Buck Andy York. My name is Chris Belcher. This has been another edition of Squared Circle Radio Live. We will catch you guys down the road.